There's training programs out there that will take you from like a couch potato, having run anything before, to doing a 5K in a certain number of days. The courage is to get out there, put shorts on, and start walking, right? You're going to develop capabilities around your diet and stretching and, time blocking. You're going to do the 5K. It's going to give you more confidence to commit to a 10K. That's twice the amount. And the 5K almost killed me. You're going to develop the capability. You're going to get a little bit more confidence to run a half marathon and then a marathon, right? The same thing in business. You just got to do the work. What's up, real estate business builders? Let's get into it. This is the top 3 traits of what I call MDAs, $1 million agents. And so my journey, if you haven't heard it, is one of a lot of hard work, a lot of failure, and a lot of not accepting the status quo in real estate. So by the end of my 3rd full year, I did 1 million GCI in a single year. 2 years later, I think it was over 2 million. And then 1 year after that, it was over 3 million. So this journey of a 7-figure GCI business, it's one that I've done personally. In 2013, I launched Real Estate B School, which is now, we're sort of 11 years and running. Easily, probably a couple thousand agents have been through the journey here of taking a different approach in their business. Traditional methods won't have you at the level in real estate that you need to get to have absolute time and money freedom. Maybe not time freedom, like absolute time freedom, if you get to 1 million, but living a life that is, worth living, and owning a business, or building a business rather, that's worth owning. So that's the focus of today, the 3 traits specifically that you'll need to. And if you don't have these traits, these are traits that you'll need to cultivate and focus on if you want to achieve that $1 million agent status. If you know at some point in your journey that you want us to potentially come alongside you, we have a program called $1 Million Agent Method. So go to $1millionagentmethod.com. There's a 7-minute video there that outlines the program. Book in a strategy session. There's no obligation whatsoever. So if you know that is part of your journey here and you just want to explore it, go to $1millionagentmethod.com. All right, let's get into it. Number 1 trait of $1 million agents is what I call growth mindset. And this is actually, if you have ever read the book, I think it's from Angela Duckworth, called Grit. In the book, she talks about 2 types of mindset. There's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. And fixed mindset is, let's take, for example, the fear and uncertainty and doubt, FUD, as I call it, fear, uncertainty, and doubt around the NAR settlement and the implications coming for the buy side of the business, and, no co-brokes and all of that. The fixed mindset will think about it in a way where, like, oh crap, I can't do buyer sides anymore, or, I'm going to get out of the business. We actually had one of our coaching clients get out of real estate. Even though we have like all the systems in place to absolutely dominate the buyer side, given this change that's coming, it's how we've always taught that side of the business. His mindset was like, got the best of him in terms of like, he couldn't contemplate, how would I have to approach the buy side of my business differently from a growth mindset versus this fixed mindset that he had seen some stuff happen in another industry that he was involved in, and surely this was going to happen in this industry as well. And so that fixed mindset will crush you. And so you want to approach everything as a growth mindset. And one practical, the way that we go about this, and this is more in our scale mastermind, not so much in the $1 Million Agent Method, but we approach the world with a 3-year outlook. We call it a 3-year vision. So the mindset part of this is like, where do I want to be? Let's just take in the real estate business. Let's say you want to have you want to be $1 million agent 3 years from now. what would that look like? Like how many listings would, listing appointments would I need to go on? Am I going to have a showing agent, or do I want to show homes, or do I have a local admin to kind of do all the nonsense admin, not nonsense, but the work that is not highly dollar productive? Like, what do you actually want that to look like? It's a very, very simple model, very simple business to have $1 million business, but that's how you calibrate your mindset around the future, even if today is a little bit tougher, because that mindset will give you the ability to do the things you need to do today that will have you actually achieve that 3-year vision. Then we have a whole process where we break it down to the year, to the quarter, to the week, to the day, and even by the hour. And we attach the work you're doing in this hour to this 3-year vision. And that's this mindset. Our mindset of what we want the future to look like is actually brought back to the present and the activities we're doing today. All right, so that's number one, is growth mindset. Number two is $1 million agents that have achieved at least $1 million of GCI or more in a single year. And they've done it with a certain level of, they're not losing their mind. They're not like borderline divorced. They're not like 100 pounds overweight. Like, they've achieved it in the right way. So our clients, the way we help them get there, it's resourcefulness. So I coached for a while with Dan Sullivan in his highest level coaching. It was $5,000 for one day with him, and you had to commit to 4 days over the course of a year. So 20 grand to be in a room with 50, 60 other business owners, each paying 5 grand to be in that room for a single day. So he didn't give the tactics on how to build a real estate sales business or a coaching business or whatever, but this framework has helped me. And when I look back on the things that I've achieved, this concept and this trait of resourcefulness, this is really, really valuable. So he calls it the 4 C's. So most agents, or most people in general, right? Just take the average American, they never really get out of their own way, achieve much of anything like above the status quo, like average. This framework of the 4 C's, so I'll just list them out, then I'll go through them. It's commitment, courage, capability, and confidence. So let's say you're not where you want to be in your production business, and you need to have, more conversations every day. Our systems are attraction-based marketing. So we have lead gen levers that are out there generating leads constantly 24/7 that are having leads come in. And then our new business development time is just following up and nurturing that business. But let's say that's your problem, is that you're not having enough conversations with, high quality buyer and seller leads to be able to convert them into a consultation, into a loyal client. The commitment you would make. So the first C is that, all right, I'm going to commit to have 10 meaningful conversations every day, Monday through Friday. So 50 meaningful conversations a week with decision-making adults about real estate. So they could look all different ways, right? So, but 10 meaningful conversations, that's the commitment. Most agents will make that commitment, but then you get to the second C, and most just opt out, right? They don't actually have the courage to do the hard thing that they just committed to. So was it really ever a commitment, right? But for those that can actually make a commitment and follow through on the commitment, get through that uneasy feeling of, like, the courage is the part where it feels uneasy. You go to reach out to somebody on Facebook Messenger and leave them an audio message, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of interrupting their day. Or you call up a past client, and you're like, they won't want to talk to me, or what do I say, or whatever. That's the courage part that you have to work through. It forces you to build some sort of capability that you didn't have before, right? So let's say you want to generate inbound seller leads. We've got a really good system for older expireds, a little bit of tech, not very complicated, but a handwritten letter system that's it's really, really good. So your commitment is you want to generate, minimum 2 listing appointments a week via leads reaching out to you. That's the commitment. The courage is like, oh, I don't know how to do tech, or I'm not a good marketer. I've never, whatever, right? So that's the courage. You're like pushing through that discomfort. Once you get through the discomfort and you sit at your desk and like, all right, I'm going to figure this out, right? You're going to develop the capability that you need to get the result that you're looking for, right? So if it's a little bit of tech and you've got to figure this thing out, and you've got to, hire a kid from high school part-time to handwrite these letters and then, address them and get them to the post office, whatever, right? You're going to figure out the capability that will give you the result, and it'll give you the fourth C, which is a little bit more confidence to tackle the next commitment. And think about this in something that you've achieved. Maybe it's in with your physical body. Maybe you weren't in a good place physically, and you did the couch to 5K in 90 days. There's training programs out there that will take you from like a couch potato, having run anything before, to doing a 5K in a certain number of days. So you make the commitment that I'm going to run a 5K. The courage is to get out there, put shorts on, and start walking. Right? You're going to develop capabilities around your diet and stretching and, time blocking, make sure whatever, right? And then you're going to do the 5K. It's going to give you more confidence to commit to a 10K. And then you're going to go through the courage and say, that's twice the amount. And the 5K almost killed me. You're going to develop the capability. You're going to get a little bit more confidence to run a half marathon and then a marathon, right? The same thing in business, right? So the 4Cs is really, really valuable. That's the trait of resourcefulness. You can figure it out. Everything you can figure out. Number three trait, the third trait of $1 million agents is leverage. And so I don't know if that's a trait of leverage, but bear with me. So there's a few types of leverage. There's leverage where I was always, I wasn't much of a cold caller or door knocker. We don't really do those systems. There are agents that are massively successful doing those things. So I'm not taking it away from those agents. It just wasn't my style. I'm still more of a direct response marketer. So I'm good at getting marketing out there very cost effectively and bringing leads in. Most of our lead gen levers are no cost at all, but leverage through marketing. So becoming a really good marketer, whether it's your database touch system or your brand authority builder, which is what we call social media, or other lead gen levers that you're putting out there, marketing is an important leverage point in your business. Then your sales system is an important leverage point. So your buyer consultation framework, let's take that one system alone, right? If you've been used to, which 99% of agents, they go out and show some homes and then there's a co-broke and they get paid a ridiculous five figures to help a buyer open some doors and negotiate a contract and get them to closing. I'm not taking away from the work of a traditional buyer agent, but that's all going to change. So do you have the sales system that will allow you to sit down with a buyer before showing them homes and get them to agree to pay you whatever percentage you want to get paid, even if there's not a co-broke or there's not a seller concession, right? So that's another system. And then there are systems around, when you take a listing, getting it, all the operational systems around getting a listing into the MLS, getting an offer, back to the seller, getting price improvements on listings. There's all these little systems in your business. There's probably a dozen core systems that we teach. And inside $1 Million Agent Method, there's sort of 4 pillars and there's sub systems that we help you build out within a 90-day period. So it's not an ongoing coaching program. But at some point, to get to $1 Million Agent status, MDA status, you will need some leverage with a person or two. So there's systems and then there's people. A $1 Million Agent business, let's say your average commission check was 10,000. It's 100 transactions. Most agents are probably in markets where it might be a little bit more than that, but just to keep the math simple, that's probably a couple showing agents and a good local admin and maybe one virtual assistant. And you're probably netting 750. And you're probably working 50 hours a week or less, no evenings or weekends, maybe half day Saturdays, right? I remember the last year I was in production and I was like really figuring out all these leverage points. I was the main listing agent for the team. I think I did 66 transactions in a single year. We did 178 total that year. And I remembered at that point, I was still taking Saturday. I did 9, 11, and 1 listing appointments, and I would just have them lined up. I would usually take 2 out of 3. So it was a really good use of my time because we could leverage those listings into more buyers, right? Because we don't do paid leads. So Think about leverage. So that's like really when you think about your ability to go from where you are today. Let's say you're at 100,000 GCI and you want to 10x your business. You can't 10x you. You can't 10x your hours. So leverage your hours. Leverage has to be a part of the equation, and there are systems and there are people, right? So marketing systems, sales systems, lead nurture systems, all the lead gen levers, that we teach are systems, and they provide you massive, massive leverage into the business. All right, so those are the three traits, and I want you to think about where you are, scale of 1 to 10 on growth mindset. Do you really think like what you're seeing in your brain for your business? Do you really believe that $1 million agent status is possible? That's growth mindset. 2, resourcefulness. Do you have the ability to commit to something and follow through, build out a capability, and then go on to tackle bigger things, right? So number 2, resourcefulness. And number 3, leverage, right? Systems first, and then a couple people into your business to buy back your time, get away from working evenings and weekends. So those are the 3 traits. Hopefully this is massively valuable. If you're at the point in your journey where you need to take a step, and it's not a big step with us, it's just a conversation about your business. It's a strategy session. Just go to $1,000,000agentmethod.com. There's a 7-minute video on that page. There's a link where you can book in a strategy session, and we'll see you over there. Be good.